Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a tutorial on how to stream Undertale on Twitch. We're going to be going through OBS on how to set up all the preferences and things like that. That way you could stream on Twitch, and these ideas can be used for any other game too. It's not just Undertale. Anyways, let's just hop right into it. I'm going to open up OBS over here, which you can see on my screen. And what we're going to do is talk a little bit first about the different things inside of OBS. The main thing in OBS is this big square right here, and that's the actual screen. So this is what's actually going to be streamed out to the viewers on Twitch, and you want to make sure that everything's right here before you actually start streaming. Down here on the bottom, we have scenes, we have sources, we have a mixer, and we also have this transitions and settings thing. We're not going to worry too much about the scene thing right now, just ignore that. But we are going to talk a lot about sources. We're going to talk about this mixer and this settings and start recording and things like that. That's going to be super important. Another thing which is going to be super important is up here. We have our profile menu and we have a scene collection menu. And I'm going to talk a bit about what those do. Now, the first thing we have to do in order to set up a stream is we're going to have to go over to the profile menu and we're going to have to create a new profile. Now, what the profile is it's kind of presets of all your settings. So like your frames per second, are you streaming to Twitch or YouTube gaming? All the different things that you're going to find in this settings menu when we adjust it are going to be saved into the profile that you're currently working on. And you could make multiple if that's useful to you. So you see for me, I have one for high frames per second. I have ones for high frames per second that goes to Restream instead of Twitch. I have a low frames per second one, and I have a recording one, which I'm using something similar to that right now. So we're going to do profile, new. We're going to call it stream for right now because why not, you know? And now we're going to also create a new scene collection. Now a scene collection is all the different things that people are going to see on the screen when you're actually recording. So for example, I have one for Minecraft, I have one for Overwatch, Rocket League. All these different games have different things on the screen that I want to show people in different places, and so I create a new scene collection for each one of them. Of course, the game itself changes every time, so that's also useful to have a different scene collection for each one. So what we're going to do is we're going to do scene collection new, and we're going to call it Undertale 2 because I already have an Undertale 1. And when we do that, you'll see it's completely black. We have no sources, nothing in the mixer. What's going on over here? So we've basically just reset everything back to 0 here, and we're going to start from the ground up on streaming Undertale. We have our new profile, and we have our new scene collection. You'll see on the top it says Profile Stream, Scenes Undertale 2. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. Now, before we can do anything with actually showing people the game and things like that, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the settings here, and we're going to set up OBS to be able to stream to Twitch. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to stream and we're going to select our service as Twitch. I believe that's the default one, so it should be selected automatically for you. Now you have to choose a server which is close to you, that way people don't get buffering issues. So for example, if you live next to Los Angeles, California, you're going to select US West LA at California. Now this one's super important, the stream key. This is how OBS knows where to stream to, like in order to stream to your channel specifically, I should say. And I'm going to show you really quick how to get there. And the way you do that is you open up Chrome or whatever browser you're using and you head over to Twitch. Log in, and under your name here on the main Twitch website, there's a button for dashboard. When you go into your dashboard, by the way, this dashboard is where you're going to see all of like you're going to see your stream and your chat and things like that, and you're going to be able to change your name of your stream. So it's super useful to know this, but this tutorial is not about that. What you're looking for is this stream key right here. Now, when you go here, there's a button for show key. I'm not going to press it because it's going to show my stream key, and you don't want to give anybody your stream key because then they'll be able to stream to your channel. So when you go to stream key, you press show key, it'll give you a key, and you can copy and paste that right here into the stream key in OBS. And the next thing you're going to want to do, you're going to ignore the output because the default settings are usually pretty good for that. You're going to go to the audio. Now, in this setup, I'm going to be recording Undertale, and I'm also going to be recording my voice. You might want to do just Undertale. You might want to do just your voice. But I'm going to show you how to do both, and you'll see pretty easily how to do one or the other, whatever you want to do. Under desktop audio device, we're going to choose wherever the audio is coming from that you hear. So in my case, I hear through my headphones, through my Yeti stereo microphone. So I'm going to choose that, and that'll be for Undertale and everything on the desktop itself. That's why it's called desktop audio device. The next thing you want to do is you want to choose where your voice is coming from. So in this case, we're going to choose microphone, and it's going to be my Yeti stereo microphone because I both hear and record through my Yeti. So desktop audio is my speakers on the Yeti, which goes to my headphones, and the microphone is going to be my microphone on the Yeti. We'll click apply there. The next, you could ignore this, by the way, don't worry about that stuff. Next thing you're going to want to do is go to video. Now my screen is 1920 by 1080, that's how I do everything, but in order to improve the network performance on Twitch so people don't get buffering, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make the image a little bit smaller in real time. So the output resolution that I use is 1280 by 720. I find that it's still very, very clear on Twitch, and people get less buffering issues when you do that. Next, you're going to want to choose a downscale filter. Don't worry too much about the details of this, but the idea is something like this. If you have a slow computer that's having trouble with this, choose bilinear. It's the fastest one, but it'll make the image a little bit blurrier. Not the end of the world, it'll still look fine. Got a medium computer? Use bicubic. Got a nice computer with a nice graphics card? Choose this one. That's the one that I use. It comes out real nice. But, again, if your computer's not strong enough, don't do it. Next, you have to choose the frames per second that you want to output. Now, the more frames per second you choose, the more load is going to be on your network because you need to send out 60 frames per second. It's a lot of images to be streaming out to people to make a video. If you're playing a game that's high-paced, like Rocket League, Overwatch, Counter-Strike, things like that, you're going to need 60 frames per second because people are watching it for the action. They want to see every little thing that happens. But for Undertale, we don't need 60 frames per second. Everything in Undertale is pretty slow, and you could basically get by with 30 frames per second. People will be able to see it just like a video. It'll look nice. You don't need to worry about the 60 frames per second for Undertale. Let's just put it that way. We'll select that. We'll press apply again. And now we'll head over to the hotkeys. I use hotkeys for a lot of different things. You can set them to whatever you want. The one that I find the most important is the start streaming and stop streaming button. You click on it, and you can click on whatever button you want on your keyboard, and that'll start your stream and stop your stream. Make sure it's not a button that you're going to use in the middle of the game, otherwise it'll be starting and stopping all the time in the middle of your game. What you can do though, kind of a nice handy tip that I didn't know at first, you can set the same button to both start streaming and stop streaming. You see why they're both coming up red here and it says in the tooltip? That's kind of handy because it means you could use one button that you press to start it, and then you could press the same button to stop it again. So you could set the same button for both start and stop. Once that's done, you click apply again, you press OK, and now you'll notice that your audio came up here because we selected our desktop audio on our microphone, and you could see the volume from each one of those. You'll see if I ping the volume here, you'll see that it pops up for the desktop audio. Now, my general rule of thumb is that the desktop audio should be about half on average in terms of level as the microphone audio, and if some loud things happen and it goes up to about the same volume as the microphone, that's okay too, not the end of the world. Now, my microphone's a little bit low here because I'm going to be doing post-processing. Normally my audio goes all the way up to like here, 75% or so, which means my desktop audio on average should be around here where my mouse is. You can adjust that by moving these two sliders here, so I'll move this here left and right, and you'll see that when I move my microphone audio that it also, the average level for my microphone goes down as well. Let's put that all the way back up. And now what we need to do is we need to actually show people the game itself. You see that nothing is popping up here. The way we're going to do that is we're going to open up Undertale over here. First, I should mention, before you start doing this, make sure you open the game first. You'll see Undertale pops up and you'll see the desktop audio super loud compared to my microphone. So I'm going to just bring that down. That way it looks like a good level, about half of what I'm speaking at here. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a source. That way you could actually see Undertale in OBS. The way you're going to do that is you're going to click this little plus button, and there's one for game capture. You could capture all sorts of different things. We'll just do game capture because Undertale's a game. We'll press OK on the name. And now what I like to do is in the mode, I like to capture a specific window here. And the window we're going to want to capture is obviously Undertale. This is why you have to have the game open before you do this, because you actually need to be able to choose the window. Everything else here, don't touch it, just leave it as is. Press OK. Now the first thing you'll notice is that Undertale is not actually the right size here on OBS. You'll see it's only taking up even less than a quarter of the screen here. You can stretch it out using this little these little markers here. You can stretch it and then try to get it in the middle, but that's not really a good way to do it because you'll never be able to get into the middle. You'll never be able to get it to the right size. So an easy way to make sure that your stream comes out the perfect size is you right click on this, right where the Undertale is. You choose transform, and there's one button here to fit to screen. So let's press that. And you'll notice that Undertale is now perfectly scaled so that the top and the bottom exactly match my screen. And because the aspect ratio of Undertale isn't 16:9, there's a little bit of black space on the left and right. That's okay, that's perfect for Undertale. Next, what you're going to want to do is maybe add a little overlay. Maybe you want to add your webcam. Maybe you want to add images or your Twitch tag or whatever you want to add. You go back to sources, and you can start adding those up. So in this case, I'm going to add my logo here, which is an image. So I'll just press OK there. I'll browse for it, which I keep in my artwork here. You see there's a lot of artwork. And there's my logo. So I've selected the image file by pressing browse, and I'm going to press OK here. And you'll notice that my image popped up here. But it's a little bit too big. And I also want it to be on the bottom left of the screen. So I'm just going to drag it there. And I'm going to use the little handles here to resize it, and I'm going to hold control while I'm doing it. If I hold control, then it'll keep it from stretching. If I don't hold control and I try to adjust this, sometimes it'll stretch it left and right, and it just won't be the right size. Like, it won't be kept as a square, I should say. Anyways, I'm going to adjust it to whatever size I think it should be. So I have my logo there the whole time, and that looks about perfect. My voice volume is pretty good. My audio volume is about half of that, which is what I like. Make sure you talk to your viewers. Figure out what works best for the audio. If it should be louder, it should be softer, whatever it works for you. Make sure, by the way, also, that your sources are in the right order. So for example, you don't want to put your image under your game capture. You see how it gets cut off a little bit over here. You want to make sure that your image is above the game capture. That way it shows up on top of Undertale. Once you have that all done, you have your scene collection ready, you have your profile ready, you're basically ready to stream to Twitch. So you can just press start streaming, and within a few seconds, you should be connected to Twitch. People are going to see what you see here on OBS. They're going to be happy. Everybody's going to have a good time. It's going to be great. Now I'm just going to give you a peek at my actual Undertale setup here. When I stream Undertale, oh hey, look at that, you can see me. Let's just turn that off for a second here. You could hit these little icons to hide things. You'll notice that in my actual Undertale stream here, there's a lot more things. I have my actual game capture, which is just like what we did before. The Logitech here is my camera. You can move that around and things like that. My camera frame is going to be the little logo, the overlay that sits on top of my camera. I have my starting shortly menu, which is hidden all the time because I only use it at the beginning of the stream. You'll notice that when I press the eye icon here, it overlays everything with my will be starting shortly menu. That's kind of useful if you want to do AFK screens and things like that. I have another one for will be back. That's also just an image that I could toggle on and off whenever I want. And I have my Twitter handle, which is also just an image, and I can move it around just like before with my logo. And I like to keep that in top right of my screen. You'll also notice I have my desktop audio brought down because my mic audio generally tends to be pretty loud. and Undertale is super loud with no audio settings, so you're gonna have to turn that down for Undertale. Anyways, we could hop back over to our Undertale 2 that we set up here, and that's pretty much it. That's how you set up a stream to work with OBS. That way you can stream out Undertale or any other game you want. You could do it all like that. So I hope you found this useful. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. Peace.